We're finally entering that point in the cycle where
People are telling you to take profit.
Alex Becker, being one of the gurus, it seems, of the crypto space, is now saying it. Dump it.
Unfortunately, the title of this video is not clickbait.
All crypto and Bitcoin before the crash.
You need to seriously be thinking about selling.
Is it time to finally take profit and run to the hills? Well, that's what we're going to be going over in this video. He went over it in 34 minutes. I'm hoping I do it in 10 minutes or less. Here's the TLDR of what Alex Becker thinks. Alex Becker, first off, says that 90% of you are going to go broke. You're not going to be able to time the markets correctly, and you're just going to lose. And that's just a simple reality for him, especially Cardano holders. He is obsessed with Cardano, it seems. But here it is. When you are getting into cryptocurrencies during this market cycle, he believes we are in the mid-cycle where we've already had that initial run up. Moon boys are beginning to creep in, but we're nowhere near the top because he says that a $250,000 Bitcoin is in the works potentially. Right now we're at 67K, which would represent a pretty big gain for anybody getting into crypto right now. With this being said though, he doesn't expect to be able to time the top. So at some point when Bitcoin hits over 100K, he's going to start exploring the possibility of taking some sort of profit. He even goes as far as to say that if you're in a comfortable position, you should time the top much before, take profit on some of your position, and over the course of the bull market, take more and more and more and more percentages of your position until inevitably when your price target hits, which hopefully it does, then you're going to be in profit. But there is still risk to be had because if Bitcoin doesn't hit 100K, then he's screwed. So that's why you have to do your due diligence. You have to have your price targets and have your risk tolerance. If you're getting into crypto, then you should know that there is always risk attributed to being in an industry that has such potential as crypto does. Another thing he talks about is where the market cycle is going to go, because he made a video about microcaps, and on this video, he talked about his one strategy to go ahead and time the markets for microcaps, and that is get into the big ones, and then after you make your profits on the big ones, people are going to go to the smaller ones and the smaller ones and the smaller ones until there's no more money to be had and the cycle is over. Right now, we're still seeing a lot of these top coins like Solana running up, and that goes to show that we're still early enough in the cycle where people don't see these microcaps as important enough to get into. A lot of these larger cap coins are still seeing really good gains, so I don't really see us personally being in a position where we need to worry about that. But he does say that, you know, taking profit on somewhere around 30 to 50% of your positions, perfectly fine to do, to roll over into more and more market plays until Bitcoin hits its all-time highs. Another thing he talks about is CeDeFi. He actually talks about CeDeFi on this video and how CeDeFi has been treating him well, but to understand that CeDeFi actually ended up hitting all-time highs somewhere around 15 days after Bitcoin hit all-time highs. So he says when Bitcoin hits all-time highs again, it's probably going to do the same thing. Take your profit. If you're 15 days in, at least explore the possibility. And the final thing that Alex Becker says is that you're not going to be able to time this market, so don't even try to do it. And don't do like 70% of your initial and then go to 80% and all these different numbers, which is actually where we end up disagreeing, because I believe that every trader has different strategies. And a lot of us, let's be honest with ourselves, we aren't the biggest experts in the world. And so when we get into the crypto markets and, you know, we have these really easy numbers to understand,
I feel like it's a lot easier for us to be successful.
I have this golden rule where if a crypto is really bullish and it's a large cap, maybe I'll go ahead and take profits after somewhere around a 2 to 5x, and maybe I'll take half of my position to at least get my initial investment out there and not have to worry about it. Alex Becker's like, you go rich or go home, right? Like, you're gonna get into these markets and we're gonna try to time this as close to the top as possible, and then we're gonna have to go from there. But for me, it's like I'm under the mindset of if I can time trends before people get into them, then I do think very vehemently that you're going to be able to be more successful this cycle if you're not just stuck in one play over and over and over. This mindset that I had last bull cycle was my first one, where I was getting into a very specific amount of coins. I said, oh, I'm not going to go higher than 10 coins this cycle, is kind of ridiculous because if you come to realize there are over 2 million cryptocurrencies out there, so So to really oversimplify the markets and only get into 10 high conviction plays doesn't make a lot of sense when there are dozens, if not hundreds of trends that will take place during the reality that is this bull cycle. So in my humble opinion here, I think that you need to constantly be looking for new alpha. The people that are passive investors that hold certain coins, I see videos from people like Altcoin Daily just saying,
Hey, get the top crypto gaming altcoins, and that's all you're going to be doing this cycle.
and the top gaming altcoins are essentially going to be the ones that have the highest market caps. I think you couldn't be further from the truth. Getting into the coins with the highest market caps is great and all for diversification, but in all reality, the top gainers will always be those in the lower market cap range. I mean, we bought Echelon Prime at $3, and don't believe me? Well, you can go ahead and click on the portfolio button in some of our videos. We've tracked it since day one, 660% gains. A lot of these lower market cap coins that have been ignored for the longest of time are finally gaining some traction. And that's going to be the case with gaming, especially as more and more and more announcements continue to come out and continue to give gaming as a trend more momentum. I still believe that AI, Bitcoin L2s, a Solana, meme coins, those are narratives that are much stronger than gaming right now. However, there is no denying that there are still a lot of gains had during this little mini gaming bull cycle that we've had so far that cannot be refuted by like, oh, it's just pumpy. It's like, okay, well, there's announcements, and engage to earn and play to airdrop and so many more of these metas that go to support that. If you don't want to have immediate exposure to crypto projects, you don't have to have immediate exposure to crypto projects. You can instead go ahead, accumulate these projects over a certain amount of time, and when the time is right, when you have that liquid capital after getting into these top gaming altcoins and taking some profit, getting that liquid and being ready. For example, we got into Aether, or we're getting into things like Neon Heroes. We got into Star Heroes, which has been performing extremely well. Many of these newer gaming coins that already have a lot of promise, that have hundreds of thousands of users that have just been waiting over the course of this bear market to get in. People don't realize that some of the top performing altcoins come 3 months after the cycle, 3 months after Bitcoin decides to do that halving. So it's important to distinguish what we have right now versus what we're going to have that will likely outperform what currently exists. There are so many projects that are going to have billions upon billions of FTVs. As far as you know it, the crypto projects that you see in the top 10 right now likely won't look nearly the same by the end of the cycle. Sure, we might have some key players like IMX, Ron, AVAX really cementing themselves in the industry right now. However, there's no denying that at some point this cycle, there are going to be plays that are even larger that you need to have liquid available
So that when we inevitably get that big gaming correction,
you can go ahead and get into. Now, my thoughts on the cycle, I think that we are still definitely in the pre-bull. We're starting to hit that bull where people are beginning to be like, oh, but there's a bunch of meme coins and we're all moonballing and all these different things. I do think that we have a good year, at least for this cycle. I can't time it perfectly. I do think that by the end of this year, I will begin aggressively taking profits. If you didn't know, 2 months ago, we ended up paying off all our debt and many other facets that I think are fundamental to make it in this bull cycle without having to worry about what this bull cycle can entail. If you can get your mental clarity out there, if you can get your risk management sorted, then you are going to be a million times more successful than the average person in crypto right now. So if there's anything to take from Alex Becker, if there's anything to take from me, it's that you need to do your due diligence. You need to make sure that when you're getting into something, you understand what's getting in there. Getting to the Discords, really dig deep into Twitter. You can't just be that guy that goes on Coinbase after hearing his buddy talk about Shiba Inu. You bought Shiba Inu and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm just supposed to hold this to $1. Don't hold it to $1. Figure out what is actually happening in crypto, how the cycle functions, and make your millions before your buddy that's holding Shiba Inu this entire cycle holds it, and then it ends up dumping during the bear market because he thinks he could just get rich. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section in regards to all this. Hopefully you gain some value from this. This is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. Until the next time, stay classy, and that's all.